Hi, welcome to a Maestral Park video on how to draw and paint a European robin. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the species.
The European robin is known as Pteros in Maltese. Both males and females have a red breast. Young robins are brown with specks of lighter golden brown. They have a beautiful song and also have an alarm call if something is wrong. They are very territorial. Birds of Malta can be migratory, resident, or wintering. The European robin is migratory, often coming from as far away as Russia, and sometimes robins spend the winter in Malta. As food, they eat worms, seeds, fruits, insects, and other invertebrates. They can live in trees and bushes, in parks, like Maestral Park, and large gardens. It's good to look at the photo really well. When outside in nature, you can watch the bird and learn its behavior and about how to draw it really well.
So keep it very light and loose, and the pencil should be moving as much as possible, and keep your hand relaxed. And make sure you're always looking at the picture of the robin. Okay, so let's decide where we want our robin. So everybody's going to be different. You can have it wherever you want it. So I'm going to have mine in the bottom corner here. So then you need to mark where he's going to be standing, and then roughly what kind of size you want him to be, basically. So this is just sketching at first. Then we need to think about what shapes are in the robin. So I can see 2 circles, a few triangles, and a few straight lines for his legs. And you want the circles to be at the right angle of the robin. So looking at your robin on screen, I'm looking at the robin, so everybody else should be. If you draw a big circle for his body, or quite a big circle for his body, and I'm keeping it really light. And then you can hold up the page you've drawn to check against the photo. And then you want to draw another circle for his head. Okay. And then for his tail, it's a bit of a triangle here. And another straight line. So this is very rough. We're just drawing shapes, that's it. And then his legs come out about here. And if you look at the space between his legs, it gives a particular shape as well. Or it gives you a shape in between. So if you look at the in between spaces, that really helps to help you draw it too. And we need another triangle for his beak.
Miss,
And again, yeah?
I'm not really good at drawing circles.
That's fine. They don't have to be perfect circles. And
Mine is terrible.
I'm sure they're not that terrible. It's fine. Just keep your pencil really loose.
Okay. Thank you.
And just sketch it. It doesn't have to be. Mine's not a perfect circle. It's nowhere near. And his body isn't a perfect circle either. And as we go along, we can adjust it as well. Okay, I think his beak needs to be in a different position. So if you look at the angle of his beak on the photo, it's sticking up slightly. So it can just be a suggestion for now. Okay, so everybody should have those circles now. It's good also to check the proportions. So if you look at the photo, his head fits about twice in his body. So the way I do it is if you measure the width of his head, then you can measure it against the width of his body. That's about right. And the width of his head is about the length from his body for his legs. He looks about right. And the alignment of his tail should align round about with the beak. And next, we're going to turn him from shapes, because he looks like a bit of a funny bird at the moment, doesn't he? So looking carefully at the photo, we're going to turn him into lines, basically, the outline of his body. So if you start from the top of his head and bring your pencil down to flow down his back, and as you're drawing, you might notice things and think, oh, I want to move this somewhere else. That's fine. Okay, so let's do the other side. And he doesn't have much of a chin. He has quite a fat belly. I think robins feed themselves quite well. Okay, so you're just going round his body. And we can do the legs. Maybe we should wait to do the, we can do the legs. So basically it's just giving him two legs there. And the claws are a bit, well, the claws are a bit difficult to draw because you can't see very much of them, but we'll just make a suggestion of them. So his nails are quite important. And that's how we hold on to the branches. So I hope everyone's still looking at the photo, because I am. So his feet are quite skinny. And you don't have to, even if you just sketch a suggestion of them, that's fine. I'm just going to rub out the mark I made.
I think it's supposed to be
And
taller.
is there a photo on the chat?
I didn't share it on the chat because I thought everybody had it, but yeah, let me.
We had it in the book, but then we lost the page.
Ah, okay.
Tamsin, I will share it. Don't worry.
Let me share it just so it's there. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. Okay, so it's in the chat for everybody to see now, okay?
Miss,
Yeah.
aren't seeing like the feet of the bird. Could you maybe put the paper much more up?
Yeah, I basically just made a bit of a suggestion. They're not perfect feet.
Oh yeah.
I've just given him 2 long oblongs, basically. And then when we paint him, we can just make it a bit more suggestive because we can't see them that much on the photo. So we can't draw what we can't see. Okay, and then when we paint him, he'll come out a bit better. I'm just going to remove these marks.
Thank you.
That's okay, you're welcome. So I'm going to rub out the inside shapes next, because then that will start to help you seeing him begin to form. So hopefully you've gone quite light with your pencil. Okay, I'm just going to, and then when you look at the photo again, you might want to make some adjustments. So I'm going to hold him up to my photo. I've made him very fat, but I think he is very fat. So I think I'll bring his back down a little bit. And I think his belly starts a little bit earlier, a little bit more closer to his beak. There, I think he'll do. So next, we want to mark out his markings. So I'm going to draw his eye first, actually, which should be in line with his beak. So almost a straight line from his beak and quite close to his beak as well. And it's quite a big eye. I think I might bring his head down a little bit. And then it's quite good to have a suggestion of his colouring. So, but I would use your pencil very, very lightly here. I also think his legs need to be, I've just noticed, a little bit longer. I'll just quickly make them a bit longer. Okay, so take your pencil and very lightly mark out where you can see the red colouring, because that's the first colouring that you see. And I don't know if you can see it. Mine, you should be able to see it very lightly. And then it comes down onto his chest. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Well, none of it needs to be perfect. So it's kind of something like this. And he sort of has a mixture of brown and grey in the top of his head. And he's quite brown on his wings, so I just mark that out. Then his wing comes down here. Okay. Hopefully everyone's with me. I'm just looking at his, I think his beak's okay. Yeah. Right, we can get painting next. So everybody's very quiet. Hopefully everybody's done with their drawing. So if you want to prepare your paints, so hopefully you should have a pot of water nearby. And if you're not using watercolors, that's fine. So if you just prepare your pencil colors, your crayons.
Mary,
Yeah,
we are not using watercolors.
that's fine. What are you using?
Pencil colors.
That's fine. Are they watercolor pencils?
No.
Okay.
They are these pencils.
What you might want to do with pencils is so we're going to be using a mixture of red and yellow to make orange. So you might have orange already.
No, that's way too bright. I'm using color pencils.
Okay. So yeah, if you have poster paints or pencil colors, you can not take, because I'm going to be suggesting the watercolor proper name for the watercolors. So if we prepare our colors, so the main colors we can see. So if somebody's painting on canvas, imagine you're going to be using a poster paint.
Are these good?
Yes, very good. Wow, well done. They're excellent. I'm going to ask everybody if they want to share their pictures at the end in the group.
This is my
on
brother's.
Facebook.
I taught him to start a new one,
Brilliant.
but he doesn't want to.
Really good. So if you're going to paint him with watercolors, you might want to rub some of the pencil marks out so he's quite light. So okay,
He used the 4B, that's why it came that much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so maybe rub out some of the pencil marks. It doesn't have
But
to be all.
he already did, but he cannot rub it off. No, he doesn't want to start a new one.
No, don't start a new one because it's a really good drawing. Are you using watercolors?
He wants to use the Jovi. And I'm going to use
Okay,
watercolors.
that's fine then because it will cover the pencil marks. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so the colors we're going to be using are Okay. So somebody's saying they get sound effect because they're having trouble with the sound. Okay, I'll try and respond to your question on video, so you don't have to unmute yourself. Yes, was there another question?
Miss,
Yeah.
which colors will we use?
Okay, so if you're using watercolors, I'm using, this is cadmium red, but just a normal red is fine as well. If you're using pencil colors, you just need orange. So I'm just going to put some of this into where I already had some red. Okay, you also need some yellow. This is cadmium yellow for watercolors, but with poster paints and pencil colors, it's just yellow.
Wait, we need this yellow.
Is that, I can't really see it. If you hold it closer to the screen. Oh, I can't, does it say what kind of yellow it is on the tube?
But it says yellow ochre.
Not yellow ochre. If you have more of a yellow, a cadmium yellow.
This one is just yellow then.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and you need a red, and then a brown. In watercolors, this is burnt umber. This is the best color to use. So squeeze that in. And then you need a blue, a dark blue. And this is ultramarine in watercolors. And that's everything for now.
Miss, is this blue good? I'm using acrylics. This blue good? It doesn't say what kind of blue it is, it's just blue.
With acrylics, I wonder whether, do you have a grey?
No, I would have to make one.
No, actually, do you have a brown?
Yes, it's this brown.
If you make them quite watery, you should be okay. So yeah, just do what we're doing as well. So you might have to make them, mix them.
Blue is good.
Yeah.
Okay, because the other blue I have is very light.
Okay, that's fine, should be. Okay, so I'm going to bring him back. So the first part we're going to paint is his breast. So if you take one of your brushes, it's always best to use a soft brush. So I'm using a watercolor brush. And it's also good to have a piece of kitchen towel nearby as well, just in case you need to dab anything, if for a quick rescue. Okay.
Do we use small or thick brushes?
I'm using quite a thin brush because he's quite small. So mine is, I can't even see the size now because the paint's coming off. But can you see it? So it's quite thin and it's quite pointed at the end.
So something like this.
Can't see.
And then I will dip it in water so it will be much smaller.
Okay, that's good. What you can do as well is test your brushes first. So we want to test, we need to mix up an orange. So if you mix your red with your yellow, try not to get too much red in the yellow.
Miss,
Yeah.
is scarlet good as red?
Is this watercolor or acrylic?
No, watercolor.
Okay. If that's the only one you have, then that's fine. If
Because
you
I don't know, because there's another one, but it's pink, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't really want to. But if you use scarlet red and mix a lot of yellow in so that you get an orange,
The other one's an alizarin crimson.
yeah. Yeah, try that one, the alizarin crimson.
Okay.
And then if you have a cadmium, well, you just had a yellow, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, that looks like the right kind of orange. And what, oh, and we need to, it's quite good to test it as well on a piece of, so this is a piece of rough paper, because I don't want to test it on my nature diary. And then just test the colour and see what you think compared to the robin on the photo. Okay, and then you also get used to your brush as well, so you know how it's going to react on the actual robin.
And this is a pink because when I opened it, it's a type of pink. So I'm gonna use the scarlet one. I think it's
Okay,
red.
yeah, that's fine. It's fine if all of our robins are a bit different.
I used scarlet also, and it's fine to make orange.
Okay, perfect.
Go for an orange.
So what I quite like to do with watercolors, and I think you can do this with acrylics and poster paints as well. It's up to you, but you can mix it with a little bit of water so make them quite watery paints, and then see how they react on the paper. So I'm going to paint his orange parts with just water for now. Because this is the really nice thing about watercolors.
So we put water.
Yeah,
Okay.
seems like a crazy idea, doesn't it? Not loads and loads of water, just a little bit, just so it's wet. So if you look at mine, you can just see he's a little bit shiny in that area. So then you take your orange and then drop it into the area that needs to be orange. And it starts to spread, which is quite fun to watch. Oh. Everyone okay? Let me just check. On canvas, no, you probably wouldn't want to put water on canvas. You can try it and see what happens. Maybe try it on the edge. Pardon? Yeah, you can. Yes, try it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, and it doesn't have to be even orange. And I might add a little bit of red in places just so that it's not one colour. But a very watery red.
So in some places we do it like going to darker.
Yeah, you can just mix the colours a little bit on the paper because it's quite a strong colour when you look at him on the photo.
And it has to be a quite dark orange, right?
Yeah.
So I add a bit of tiny brown in it.
No, I wouldn't add any brown. But if you just a bright orange is fine. So if you look at mine, it's quite a strong colour. So red and yellow is fine.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Put a bit more orange in there. Okay, so next I'm going to paint the legs. So for the legs, they're quite brown. So if you take your burnt umber or your brown and just put a little bit on the side, but it's quite a dark brown, almost black. And then take your blue and mix some of the blue in. So this is used to, this kind of mixture to make a dark brown when using watercolors. Trying to get them mixed right. Yeah, that's quite dark. Okay, and then I'm going to take a thinner brush because his legs are quite thin. And then just turn him a little bit and then paint a straight line with his legs. And then
We need to put brown.
yeah,
Okay.
quite a dark brown. So, but if you've just got the color brown, you can try mixing some blue into it to make it darker. So for his feet,
I've got the brown you have.
the burnt umber.
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you mix some blue into that, it will come out quite dark.
Okay.
But test it on some paper first. And then just paint his claw. So his feet don't have to be perfect because like I said, we can't see them that well. So even if you make a suggestion of his feet. Keep hitting these. So I'm going to paint the wings next. First I'm going to pick up some of the colour because it's becoming a bit of a puddle. That should be fine. And I'm going to take this same colour that I just mixed for the legs and the feet and just mix a bit more brown into it. And I'm going to do the same thing again that I did with the breast and paint him with a little bit of water. So I'm going to start with the top of his head and then come down, just spoil his legs. Oops. Yeah, be careful of his legs, people. That's fine though. I'll stick some grass there or something afterwards. So yeah, we're painting him with a little bit of water. And I'm going to streak the water so that not all of it's filled in, just to try and get some of the lighting on his wings. But you can do this with the paint itself as well.
So we do the outline of the wings with water.
I've filled in all of the brown part of the robin.
Okay.
I've done with water.
Okay.
So, and then you start to drop in the color.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So what colors do we need to put?
For the wings, I'm using my brown, which is the burnt umber, but you can use another brown.
And for the top, bow, before the wings, what did you put colors, please?
For the brown part of him, I'm mixing a brown with a bit of blue, but I'm mainly using the brown on its own. And then I'm just dragging the color down. I might give him some more dark bits by mixing more blue in to get that really dark color. Of course, you can find your own different ways to do this, of course. So if you've done it completely differently, that's fine. I'm just giving you suggestions. And now I can do his tail. I might do his tail quite lightly. So to go light with watercolor, you just mix in more water. And if it does blend with each other, that's fine. You can go over it later and give it more definition if you want to. Okay, starting to take shape. So we next need quite a greyish colour. And the way I've been doing this before is by taking the edge of that brown and blue mix that you've painted, maybe adding a tiny bit more blue so that it's kind of a mucky grey basically. And again, test this on a piece of paper. That's about right. So if you have this kind of colour, this greyish kind of colour in your pencils or acrylics, then you can just use grey. So again, I'm going to paint a little bit of water into him. And yes, the colour is going to spread because it's watercolour, it won't stay in one place. That's fine for now. Okay, maybe that's a lot spreading. So if you just dab it a little bit with your kitchen towel. And then maybe a bit of water down here. And then it's the front of his breast. And then take that bluish grey colour. I think I made his head a bit too fat. And then you can just dab it on.
How do we make the bluish gray color? Because I didn't see it.
If you're using watercolours, the previous mix we made was brown and blue. So if you put some water next to that and then add a bit more blue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Everyone's very polite, it's great. So then you can mix in the bluish, the blue part or the grey part. So we've gone over time a little bit. I hope that's okay with everybody. But we're almost done. And we don't need to paint it all on. We can just dab it. And I quite like the effect of the watercolour because it makes it look, him look fluffy, which he is. And then I don't want to paint too much on his chest because he is quite light on his chest. And I might paint a little bit of water into his breast to lighten it up a little bit. So we're almost done with this, but if you want to go over and like just fix a few things, because that's always going to happen when you need to just make some adjustments. and make some corrections like me. That's the beauty of watercolor. If you need to correct things, usually you can just dab some water on it and then pick it up with some kitchen towel.
After we finish the blue, what do we do now?
If you're finished with him, I'm still fiddling around a little bit. It depends on how wet your robin is and if you want to just go for it or not. I think mine's quite wet because that's with watercolor, sometimes you have to do it in stages. So I might wait a little bit before I put his eye in and his beak, because I don't want the watercolor to spread too much. But then I do want his chest to be a little bit softer. Yeah. So that's okay if that spreads. But if you're using pencils, the next step is to, or acrylics or poster paints, is to draw his eye, which, so I've got a drier robin. So that for those who are painting watercolors, you may want to wait a little bit until the next part. But in the meantime, you could color in your January whilst you're waiting. Yeah, the
Miss,
word that you drew earlier. Yeah.
Miss, in what color do we color? In what color do we color January?
It's completely up to you.
What?
It's completely up to you. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So let me show you another. I have another robin which I did earlier. So this one's dry now, but this is only, you may have to wait until he's dry. And then I just took some, first of all, let's do the beak. And the beaks are usually darker at the bottom. So if you mix the darkest colour and paint that at the bottom, like the lower half, because their beaks are in two parts. And it comes in like that. And then the lighter one, mix a lighter brown. So with watercolors, just add more water at the top. Okay. And then if you take your black, and you don't need a lot, so I wouldn't put a lot on your palette. Just add a tiny bit of water and you can paint his eye in. So you might want to use a smaller brush for this. And on the photo, it looks completely black. I think I've managed to leave if you leave a white patch, but if you haven't left a white patch, that's where the gouache comes in handy, because we want it to look shiny, even though it doesn't in the photo. There you have your robin. Hope everybody enjoyed that. When you're drawing other things, so with my original nature diary, I wrote down with my pen the name of the species. I should write European robin there, and the name in Maltese, because I like having the name in Maltese too. Said it's a wintering bird, and this is just the name in Latin, which isn't, you don't need to write that in your diaries, that's just for my interest.